I am Troy Dinbokowitz, one of the owners of SunSolar Solutions, and I have here with me today the Tj Dinbokowitz.
That's right.
Yes,
Thanks
not
for
only is
having
he
me.
my firstborn, so everybody loves TJ. And I remember taking you, son, when you were little, on all of my appointments with me. So as long as you can remember, your dad has been in sales. And one of the good things and one of the memories that I have is when we didn't have a babysitter when we were younger, you would actually come to some of the appointments with your dad.
That's right.
And actually helped me get the clothes because everybody was in love with TJ. They'd make you cookies. And man, there's some things that, some stories that I could tell. But I remember when you got into the industry, and I always knew that you were going to be a great sales guy because of your personality. I think that a good sales guy needs to know how to make friends, and you do that very well. When you walk into a room, you light up the room, right? You know how to have a conversation, and you know how to listen. And so how has sales changed your life?
Well, sales, I mean, it's like you said, I mean, I've been watching you since I've been a kid, you know, and the opportunity, right, was I was working the 9 to 5, the USAA, or I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but yeah, USAA. I was working the 9 to 5, and you said that, hey, there's a great opportunity in solar, and at that time, it was the opportunity to go be my own boss, right, and get into commission and things like that, and get out from actually working for somebody and working for myself. But seeing you through the years, you know, it's changed my life for the better. I mean, now, you know, I have that freedom, but you don't have somebody telling you to go to work every day. It's your own thing. You're your own boss. You have that accountability. You know, on top of course, I can sit here and say that financially, it's been, you know, life changing.
Right, you were able to buy your first house by yourself. What, about 2 years ago?
Right.
You know, you've been able to go on vacations, do a lot of the things that you always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Things that I wasn't able to do because I was a late bloomer and it took me a while to figure it out.
Right.
But you know, figured it out early, and you figured the value of sales. You know what that is.
Yeah.
And what happens is we get ruined, right? Once we become successful in the sales arena, and the money and the things that it can bring, the success, we are pretty much ruined. Would you agree? That
Oh, yeah.
We can't work for anybody anymore.
There's no chance going back to a 9 to 5 anymore. No way.
TJ, you could take a 15-minute break.
Yeah. Good luck. I'll be back in 20.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I remember when you came into the solar arena and you ran several appointments with me. You were a little bit shy. You were
Right.
young.
Right.
You'd go into the house, and you sat through so many appointments, and you were learning. I saw you were like a sponge, and we'd walk out of the appointment, and you'd have 20, 30 questions, and you rode with me day after day after day, just learning the business,
Right.
learning about solar. And you would not go into an appointment without me. You had to have me there. I kept trying to get you to run appointments by yourself, but you refused.
Right.
So one day I had to set you up, and I said, TJ, I can't make it when you were going to meet me at the appointment.
Yeah.
And I said, go into the
that.
house, the customer is waiting, you just called. And I purposely did not show up.
Right.
Right. And you were in there, and I made sure it was about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then I showed up, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go in there. He's had a chance to break the ice. And I walk into the home, they let me in, and I see you at the table, and you're actually transitioning into the close. You were assuming the close. And I was so proud. It was such a moment for me because you're my son. And I was like, wow, that kid sounds exactly like me. He doesn't need me. So I excused myself from the house. I said,
Right.
I told them that they're in good hands, and I left. And that was your first sale, your first solo sale.
Yep.
And I felt good about it, and I saw the look on your face when I got, when we talked about it later, you were just beaming, and you figured it out. You're like, hey, I got this.
Yep.
I got this. I could do this. I could do this on my own, right?
Right.
And would you admit that no matter what sales you're in, whether it be solar, once you learn how to make a friend and once you learn how to make a sale, you could do anything.
That's key, and that's everything. That was the number one takeaway for me is relax, go in there and make a friend.
Right.
People buy stories. It's like you go in there and you start selling right away, you turned off. People don't want to hear it anymore. So it's when you go in there, you make a friend. Not only are you're knocking down that wall, and able to go in there and actually just talk. What is it that one of the things that you told me too, right when you're going into a house, like look for something that you guys have in common, maybe something that they have interest in. Ask them about that.
Right.
That's how you start to make the friend. But that's huge.
Question-based selling, right?
Exactly.
Hand them the shovel, find out about them,
Yep.
and genuinely care. You got to care.
Yeah.
Right? Find out their
Absolutely.
story. Everybody has a story, and everybody wants to tell their story.
Right.
And one of the things that I've heard about you is that you're a great listener, right? And when I heard that, when your customers would write in and say, "Oh, TJ was here. He was so wonderful," and they would tell me once one of these nice Sun City ladies called one day and said, he just sat there. I just went on and on and on about my life. He was such a wonderful kid. He just listened to all my stories, and he was really listening, and I didn't think he was, but he asked questions about what I did in the past and where I'm from, and I was like, God dang, that's what sales is all about.
That's
right?
it, right there.
And
Yeah.
so I knew that you were going to be successful in whatever sales arena that you got into.
Right.
What would you say to somebody coming into the solar industry? What would you say be ready for to help them be successful and to take the learning curve out? You were able to take the learning curve out and cut off many years because you were able to watch me.
Right.
I truly believe that.
Yep.
Right. And I've been grooming you for sales for since you were 13 years old.
Yep.
Right. But
Yep.
what would you say to somebody coming in, no matter what their age is, whether they be 18, 19, or whether they're 27, 28 years old, 30 years old, 35 years old? What's the key ingredient that they need to be successful in the solar industry?
Number one ingredient, I'd say, is eliminate the distractions. You've always taught me that too. So, growing up through the years, seeing you, you've been through it all, everything, right? So there were times where they were bad with it and times that were good, right? But the number one thing was when you had to buckle down and go to work, you eliminated the distractions, right? The video games. We'd stay up and play Madden, and then one day,
Dad was gone.
Dad was gone. Couldn't play Madden anymore. So,
We spent hours on that video game.
yeah, we
not?
did. Yeah, we did.
Good times.
Yep. But you eliminate distractions, right? You put your head down, you go to work. Like one thing you told me was, like you mentioned, I hit the ground and I went on 50 appointments with you first to learn, and then I got that one sale, and then from there, right, it was just the avalanche effect that you mentioned, right? But don't look at the bank account. Don't look at don't worry about that stuff. And then that's just going to come with the work. The distractions at home, right? Going to the grocery store or going on and getting lunch with your girlfriend and stuff like that. You can't, if you really want to succeed, you gotta put your head down, and I'm not saying it's all work, no fun. It's fun too, but you put in the work and that comes.
So sacrifice.
Right?
Right. And I think that's so important when somebody's coming out of the gates in anything that you do in life, anything worthwhile isn't going to come easy, right?
Right.
And a lot of people, they hear, oh, you can go into the solar industry, you can make millions of dollars. That's where the money's at.
Yep.
But they don't understand. It's not going to just fall in your lap.
Right.
You got to go create a pipeline. You got to get out every day. There's so many moving parts in solar, and it's changing every day.
Yeah.
And you got to stay current, right? But you got to go out there and you got to put your head down and you just got to go to work. And the distractions can kill you. And one of the things that, if you start worrying about what everybody else is getting, right?
Right.
Or if you get upset because so-and-so is getting preferential treatment, or so-and-so got a company lead, or, you got to block all of that out, right? And just worry about you,
Yep.
right? Focus on yourself. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. And once I saw you learn that, you really surged forward.
Yep.
Once all of the outside noise was put aside and you were able to focus, you really blossomed. You
Right.
took off.
Right.
And would you agree that, you have to be around positive people all the time, right?
Always. Yep.
Right? You
Yep.
don't want to. You can't let the negativity in.
Right.
Right? Because that's another distraction.
Yeah.
And I think once you learn that, you were able to soar.
Right.
And what I wanted to ask you was also, what are some of the things that, what kind of person do you believe would excel in sales? What do you have to possess? What kind of traits, characteristics does a person have to be successful?
A people person, right? Someone who
I mean, you got to like people to be in sales.
You gotta like people.
You got to
right?
like people.
You got to, right? I mean, I love people, so I think you got to be a people person, right? Because sales, like we mentioned before, is a lot of it comes from relationships,
right?
So be a people person, the hard workers, right? People who have big dreams, that are gonna do anything to get there. That's the kind of people who are really gonna, I believe, succeed in sales.
And do you think that there's I always see, when I see a lot of people come into the industry, and sadly I've seen them disappear, right?
Yeah.
Too quickly. So they didn't give it a chance to work, right? You see a lot of skills, you recruit people, you bring them in, you train them, and you're like, wow, this guy's a diamond in the rough,
Right.
And then, 2-3 months later, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's because sales, it pays a lot, but it takes a while to get paid. But not only that, the skill set, just like a pro basketball player, a baseball player, he's not going to go in and he's not going to bat 500 right away, right?
Right.
He's not. And he's got to take his swings. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
The at-bats, the opportunities, right?
Yep.
You gotta be able to get those under your belt. You got a mental toolbox.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to fill that up.
Right.
And you got to know the rebuttals. And I think what happens is a lot of people don't give it time to mature, and then they hit the eject button and they're gone.
Right.
And so how can we avoid that? How can somebody come in and be more prepared? That's what I'm asking you, because you're young.
Yep.
And you're still, I say, you're not new to the solar industry. You've been around for about 5-6 years. But what would you say somebody coming in, I mean, what should they do? What should they expect?
They should expect to, you're not going to succeed right away, kind of like you said, you're baseball players, right? They get in their slumps, but what do? They keep swinging, swing away. You're going to bust that slump eventually. So, what to expect is, it comes with work.
Right. Would you agree that you get what you put into it?
Absolutely.
I think this is a one industry that you get what you put into it.
Absolutely.
Right? Sales.
Right.
Sales.
Right.
If you work, you're going to get paid.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you don't work, you're not going to get paid.
Exactly.
Right? And I know that you're very, very good at the referrals. Right? You're very smart. And I could say that because you're my kid. But you're very smart, and I noticed that you always work one. I actually learned this from you. You actually told me this, and I know everybody knows it, but you say you're already there. Why would I not work that deal for another deal?
Right.
And I know that you take the time at the end of every sale to talk to the customer, and you say, if I do a good job today, and your install goes well, and your neighbors are going to ask you about solar. And then you told me that you give them extra business cards, and you say, please recommend me.
Right.
Please recommend me to your neighbors, your friends, whoever's at work.
Yeah.
If it does come, it is going to come up. People are going to ask you where you got your panels. tell them about me.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think that when I heard you say that, I was like, wow, this kid's learning quick.
Yep.
Right. You
Yep.
turn one sale into 2 sales.
Exactly.
Right. And
Yep.
so I noticed that you get a lot of referrals, and that comes with, if somebody likes you,
Right.
they're going to refer you. Right. And you try to make an impression on everybody that you see. And I see that in you. So I think that's your best skill set. I really do. I think that people enjoy your company.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
So-
that just going in line with that, it's you get that person in the neighborhood, brand new neighborhood, you go solar, they go solar with you. The neighbors are going to ask, who'd you go solar with? And how was that experience? And you have that relationship built with that guy. Of course, he's going to want to refer you. Hey, I have the perfect solar guy for you. He's,
Yeah.
he's a good guy. Let me go ahead and just refer him over to you. So, I mean, that's where the relationship comes in. And that's where, like you mentioned,
And we know it's a solar coaster, and we know it's a
is.
very, very competitive industry,
Yes.
right? Especially now, it's a little more saturated, but that's okay, because when I see saturation and I'm out in the field, that means the awareness is up.
Right.
Right? That means more solar panels are on the roof.
Yeah.
And that means that I don't have to really break the ice, and it's not a new concept anymore. So when I'm in the neighborhood, that actually gives me a leverage, right? Especially if I know how to make a friend. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
So if you're in a saturated market, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
That just means more people are going solar.
Yep.
And it's more opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
that's how you got to look at it. We got to learn how to turn the negatives into positives.
Yeah.
Right. And so one thing I saw about you is you're Mr. Nice Guy until somebody pisses you off. And you're not afraid to get dirty,
Right.
Nasty, right? And I saw that. And sometimes it could be distracting, right? Mm-hmm. And so you got to learn to calm down.
Right.
And I saw over the last couple of years, you've learned that, right?
Yeah.
That you got to you're going to take some blows.
Yeah.
People are going to cancel. You're going to have attrition.
Oh, yeah.
Right? People are going to steal your deal. It just comes with the territory, right?
Yep.
But you've learned, right? Now you work even harder. I saw that. But no, you've blossomed, and I think that, TJ, you're going to have years to come. We're going to be seeing TJ's name all over the place because you're going to have so much success. So I really appreciate you coming in and sharing time with your dad.
Thanks, Pops.
I'm very proud of you. Keep up the hard work, and you're going to have a lot of success, son.
I appreciate it. Have the best coach.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's right.